It is March 23rd, 2015. So as I was saying, first, you know, they did lead me. They were looking for something. I don't know why they wanted to try to antagonize me specifically, but they were kind of looking for a reaction from me. And so I gave them one. And then after that, then the guy was like, telling me to get out of the car. And I was like, what? He asked me a question about something. I told him what I thought. I hadn't said anything offensive directly to anyone in that vehicle. And so when he's telling me to get out of the car and everything, I just thought, and they didn't want to take me with them then. I thought, this is really weird. How come such a big deal is being made about Kate Middleton? So I got out of the car, seems like we at least got as far as what's really strange is supposedly I think I was going with them to get a burger or something, like get something to eat really quick. And I think they told me to get out, and I said, well, what? And I think I told them I wasn't trying to insult you. And maybe I remember going all the way down the driveway. I don't really remember too much after that. It's kind of like I think I was told to get out of the car, and then that's all I remember. I don't remember picking up food. I just remember like that was the last time I saw them. And I think that they were at the end of the driveway. They told me to get out of the car, and I think that at that point I was in, another guy got out or something, and I was injected with something. And I believe they may have had Chris Dabney, this kid, do the injection, or someone. They all got out of the car. So they were, and this was this was at the end of the driveway. And I just remember that they grabbed me, held on to me, and then there was some kind of an injection or something. There was some type of an injection, I believe in the back of my neck or shoulder. I don't remember which, but I knew that something was happening. And then I don't remember anything after that. So I never did. I never got a hamburger out of it. Really just wanted some fries, a hamburger, and a shake or something in the non-McDonald town that I lived in. But no, I got jumped at the end of the driveway over Kate Middleton again, supposedly. So, and I did not see them after that. And I actually, as hard as I try to think about it right now, I mean, it might come to me later, but I don't remember what happened after that. Like, did I wake up then at my RV on the other property, or did I wake up in Moses Lake? Like, did they traffic me back to the Moses Lake house, and I was back in Moses Lake, Washington? I actually don't remember. I sort of think that I was in a different location after that, because I remember trying to talk to someone about Louis Freeh and what he did, and this other guy, you know. And I had thought Louis Freeh was pretty good looking at the time, you know. I thought he seems like a good looking, quiet kind of a man. But anyway, I at that point realized, I thought my impression, whether it was false or not, whether that's what it was all about or not, which I'm sure it's not what it was all about, but I just thought, they are really obsessed about Kate Middleton. Like, I'm sorry, but she's like this little girl, and they're going gangbusters over here in the U.S. about this. So, you know, I had all kinds of ideas about it. I thought she's a spy for the CIA, she's a spy for the Pentagon. These people are actually MI5 people. They're Mossad. They're, you know, I wasn't sure what it was, but It was a little extreme. And what I do know is that those guys were pretty much FBI. So here was this thing where I supposedly offended them by saying Katie would get into a car with anyone, but I would only go with, maybe Katie would get into a car with just anyone. Because he said something like that. He said, yeah, because Katie might just get into a car with anyone, huh? And I said, yeah. I mean, like, I agreed. But see, he led into it in a certain way. And then I agreed with it, and I said, yeah, I wouldn't just hop into a car with anyone. They'd have to be, like, government or something. Like, because then I'd know that they were, like, someone who was safe. Well, so then the next thing that happened is that all of these government people who'd already been abusing me and stealing from me and doing all kinds of things, they decided that they were going to spend an entire summer programming me specifically to get into a car with someone who's a stranger who's going to be a government person, and or leave a building of some kind, like a restaurant or a club or theater, and go home with some stranger, like I was a floozy, and who was going to be a government person. And what they did is to spite me, supposedly to spite me over this one comment about Katie Middleton again. How she wouldn't get into a car, she would get into a car with anyone, but I would only get into a car with someone who's government. These FBI and other U.S. government agency people were deliberately setting me up to be raped repeatedly by U.S. government people. Just to, I guess, give them the satisfaction of knocking me down. I mean, when I made that comment, I was a preteen, you know, or, yeah, I was a preteen. And they had to have really hated me to have been that obsessed that they spent an entire summer thinking of how are we going to coordinate this to degrade her so badly that she's hardly going to have any way to talk about it and no one will believe her, and we'll just make sure that she's discredited. And, you know, they were all getting off on it. It was like this massive gang rape. Massive. Government plotted gang rape of me. And, you know, supposedly they were all getting satisfaction because they were getting at me for making a comment about Kate Middleton. You know, so it's like, okay, you know, is Mike Middleton really her dad? And is Carol Middleton really her mom? Because kind of seems like maybe her dad works for the U.S. government or something, as a U.S. government employee. And all these guys are, like, jumping me because they're doing something for their buddy. You know, it, like, kind of started making me wonder exactly what was what. So that is actually the start of how they, I think, came up with that idea for that specific series and set of programming me to be raped. And then the next, the other thing that I can comment on is, when I had my car hijacked in 1995 by Mike Nichols, who was a guy from Canada, like his parents, biological parents, are supposedly Canadian, but he was being raised by an FBI family. Well, when he hijacked my car, refused to turn the keys over to me, refused to stop it, it was my vehicle, I owned it, and just kept driving and then rolled it on purpose. Well, Louis Freeh was the director of the FBI at the time, and I couldn't get records on it from even the state or anywhere, and a whole bunch of things were getting covered up, and people weren't taking reports on it. And there were some other things that were going on at the same time, so it just kind of makes me wonder. And the other thing is, there was, for example, a lot of this programming that I had to do, I said was in a specific vicinity, like within 5 miles of City Hall, which is downtown. Another framework for where this location was Little Italy. They have a place called, it's like a Italian restaurant in that downtown area, just off of 2nd and Central. And the name of the restaurant way back then, and to this day, It wasn't always there, because I was visiting Coquille at some point when they did not have it named that. But it was a really long time ago when it wasn't named that. But at some point they put up this restaurant around the same time that I was getting programmed, and they called it Little Italy. And Louis Free was involved with those programming that was done of me. And I just think it's kind of strange that later, I don't know what year it was, but later, for some reason, Louis Free wanted to get dual citizenship with Italy. Like the real Italy, as in the country of Italy. And I don't know if it was just a play on things. You know, he had a couple of different Italian things going on. Not really sure about that, but he was involved in some of this coordinated activity against me. So, and he personally had a hand in a part in it himself, because at one point, as I've described in some of my blogs and tweets and that kind of thing, at one point I was at a specific location and I got raped. And the way that I remembered was by a mnemonic or whatever, a memory device that helped me to remember that he'd been involved, and everyone kind of flipped out about it because they were hoping that I'd think it was a different guy. But I mean, there were several guys. It's kind of like, you know, most of the people that I've ever mentioned, you can pretty much count on the fact that I'm not making a mistake about what I've said. There might be, just like if I've said, like, I'm not really sure or something like that, there might be a slight discrepancy or a slight mistake, or maybe I'm a little off about something, but not completely off. For the most part, I'm pretty accurate, and when I say that it was Louis Free who was involved in this car and everything, was, you know, he was involved in all that. So he was kind of leading into the Mueller, I guess. Free and then Mueller, right? I mean, wasn't that the progression for the directors of the FBI? And those guys were, for whatever reason, Kate Middleton devotees, and didn't like me. So here's this programming that was getting structured out. And then after what happened with then going with Mike the first time, and then getting raped at his house more than once, and then he had these guys leaving his house, like 2 men leaving his house when you know, I was there. And one time I think I described how I left the bed in the morning. I got up and I was really thirsty. I needed a drink, so I went to the kitchen, and then as there was only 1 cup out on the counter. It looked clean, so I just grabbed it and was filling it up with water. And Mike yelled from the bedroom. He said, "Don't use that cup that's in there," and I was already using it. And he said, "That's my shake." He said, "That's my cup for shakes." And he'd had 1 cup sitting out there on the counter. And I was like, huh? And I think I said something from the kitchen, but I was already using the cup. There was only 1 cup on the counter. I didn't want to start opening up his cupboards when he was not there and I was in his house, and felt kind of, I was trying to act natural, and not like this whole thing had been rape, or that I was afraid of him or anything. I mean, that was what I was trying to do, is act like, oh, nothing ever happened. Everything's natural, and I'm totally comfortable with the situation. So, but I was extremely thirsty because I was completely dehydrated, and from drinking, and I think from a drug, actually. So I had gone into the kitchen, grabbed the 1 cup that was out there, and then he's telling me, "Don't drink out of it. That's my cup for shakes." Okay, well, look at this, because I made this video clip about my water glass and the glass that I had when I was a preteen and how I bought at the dollar store, just like I did recently. I just recently made a video clip that included my discussion about how I didn't really love this water glass, but I just happened to get it. Well, I made a video clip at the time that I was younger and published it online about the same water glass. So I don't know how many people really saw that video clip, but this is the water glass. And I said it kind of looks like a soda, looks a little bit like a soda bottle, like a soda glass. Well, it kind of looks like a shake glass, doesn't it? I mean, it looks like an old-fashioned malt glass or shake glass for shakes. So here's Mike Middleton. I had talked about this when I was a preteen on the video clip. And here's Mike Middleton, or not Mike Middleton. Here's Mike Tanzer at his house making some kind of a weird thing about his shake glass in his kitchen. You know, which is all really kind of sad and creepy, because all of those people knew that all of that was around the time that I had a baby girl, and they kidnapped her from me. You know, and where's my baby girl? Is she still alive? Did she grow up even? You know, is she, I have no idea where she is, if she's alive. And she's an adult now. And, but, you know, for them to be later raping me, going after me, and then making fun of me, like using kinds of little symbolic things, I think that was partly just like funny for them. Like maybe they were videotaping everything and sharing it with the government, saying, oh yeah, and I brought up the glass thing too. Isn't that hilarious? They're clever. So then the next thing that happened is then after the situation with Mike, not too long after that, there was another situation with the FBI, and his name got included into that. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute.